Welcome, mortals, to the custom card review. And now let's jump right into the new custom cards, starting with the Staff of the Darkness, the Eater. He's a fire, level 4, warrior, flip effect monster. Its flip effect is destroys all cards on the field, except Staff of Darkness cards. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. All battle, duel, and effect damage you would have taken evolving a monster you control becomes 0. If you XYZ summon while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card to your field in set mode. You can only use this card's effects, each effects for once per turn. So basically, once it's flipped up, it destroys all your opponents. You're basically eating. This card's literally eating everything. So then we got the Brachiosaurus, basically. He's a dark, level 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Yeah, level 8 dinosaur effect monster with 2,000 attack and 2,000 defense. 2,200 attack and 150. 1,500 defense. Can't even talk. So, if this card is summoned, you can banish one monster from your graveyard, and so this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of this turn. Once per turn. During your opponent's turn, you can negate the effects of cards, effects, and destroy them. If this card is destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can return one banished monster to the graveyard. Special summon this card, and if you do, this card's type becomes zombie type. Because basically at the beginning, you basically banish a monster. Like basically you knock a monster out of the and if it gets killed then by battle, then it comes back. Like it basically revives itself as a zombie. So it will do pretty good on between dinosaur decks and the zombie decks, basically. So now, without further ado, let's jump right into the So now next monster is Dinosaur Z. That's spelled, it is shorter than the other monsters. And sorry for my breathing, by the way. My body heat's like heated up, so yeah. So now this card is let me do this one thing. So this artwork is a recolored and palette swapped of this monster. But instead of like how it's usually special summoned itself to the field, it basically, yeah. So, like, that is a palette swap of that monster, the one that was before, that one that I showed you. And then Dinosaur Z is a palette swap of another dinosaur. I forget its name. So it's a dark level 4 zombie effect monster. Reason why it's a zombie type instead of dinosaur type, it's because the of its effect, basically. If this card is discarded by a card effect for a cost, like basically most cards have like cost to use their effects, but this card can use that. So you can select one dinosaur type monster from your deck. Special summon it to your field in attack mode or in the defense mode. Face up on the field. If this card, or if your opponent declares an attack on a dinosaur type monster, while this card is in your graveyard, you can manage this card, negate that attack, and then send it to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. So basically, like, there's a card, most cards that have, here, let me show you. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and then have a cost. So like the cost cast down. Basically, this card has the effect of discard one card. For the rest of this turn, reduce the levels of all monsters in your hand by 2, even after they were summoned. So basically, this card can be used with like cards like this. To like, you can either special summon a monster, or you can basically use cost down to basically, like the other card, like this card, and you can basically special summon it by its effect in defense mode, and there would be 3 effects goes off. One would be like, what's that card? The one that it's a spell card, I know that. But it's a, it was called something with electricity or something. Strike down or It was one of the cards. Because it was one of the cards. Hold on, just 1 second. And plus, so it was like basically, yeah. So now our next monster is, let's move on before we ran out of time. So Dinosaur Warrior is a water level 4 dinosaur pendulum effect. And it's a opposite of its, like, basically a vanilla monster, yeah, type. It's a, yeah. If you, or so its pendulum effect is that if you control a other pendulum monster in your pendulum zone, special summon this card to your field in attack mode. Once per turn, you can select 2 cards from your deck and add them to your hand. So, so it's basically like if your opponent has if your opponent has, let's say, or if you had a pendulum monster in your pendulum zone, and you already had this card in your pendulum zone, you basically special summon it directly to your field in your monster zone. So, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, this card loses 500 defense, destroys all cards on your opponent's field. If this card is sent to the extra deck, return all banished cards into your graveyard. Place this card into your pendulum zone. So basically, its pendulum effect is basically its summoning effect, and its regular effect is basically it's similar to, like, basically if it gets destroyed, yeah. Moving on, let's go for Destroyer of the Ball Bugs. It's a Earth level 3 insect flip effect monster. Once it flips, destroys all non-insect type monsters. Destroys all non-insect monsters on your opponent's field. If it does, then this card gains 500 and attack and defense for each destroyed monster in your opponent's graveyard by this effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, pay 100 life points. Set this card face down, defense mode, and on your field. This card cannot be tributed unless it is for a insect type monster. You can only use each effect for once per turn. So basically, yeah. So that's only 5 cards for dinosaurs. And yeah. Darkness Alcalcos archetype. This is based on Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! And Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Whom is probably upset with me. But that's okay. Yeah. So I made this archetype based on so now, and if you're on Dueling Book, there's these cards that are Red Gadget, or should I say Dark Red Gadget, Green Gadget, and Dark Yellow Gadget. So I decided to make a monster that's similar to the one that's called Gadget Trio archetype or card that's been released. So this is Dark level 12 Machine Effect monster, where this card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by tributing one Dark Green Gadget, Dark Yellow Gadget, and Dark Red Gadget monsters on the field. Once per turn, during your turn, you can select one Alcalcos or one sealed or seal card from your deck or graveyard. Add it to your hand. While you control another dark monster, this card cannot be selected as a attack target. All dark monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. If a dark monster you control attacks your opponent's defense mode monster, inflict piercing damage, battle damage to your opponent. You can only use each effects of this card for once per turn. So yeah, that's why. So then I made a trap card for it. Dark Gadget and then Trio's attack. It's a continuous trap card. If your opponent activates a card effect that targets a Dark Trio or Gadget Trio monster on the field, you can pay 1,000 life points, negate it, and then banish it to the banish zone. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can pay 100 life points, draw 3 cards, and shuffle 2 cards from your hand into the deck. You can only activate each effect of this card once per turn. So yeah. So then I made a dark counterpart, or should I say a crazy version of the of the original one. So Alcalcos Dark Katora. It's a dark level 4 rock effect monster. You can special summon this card from your hand by paying 1,000 life points. All battle damage you would have taken involving a monster you control becomes 0. If this card is destroyed by battle or or card effects, special summon one. Yeah, and then from your hand, deck, or graveyard. If this card is discarded by a card effect, you can pay 1,000 life points, skip the draw phase of your opponent's next turn. Can't imagine Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Using it. That's what it is. And I think he's still upset at me for... Yeah. So, Staff of the Darkness, the Dre, or Dr. Dre. It's a dark level 4 fiend effect monster of... Yeah, you could tell. You can discard this card from your hand. Inflict 3,000 damage to your opponent's life points once per turn. While this card is in your graveyard, during your standby phase, you can select 3 cards from your opponent's deck or hand. Send that selected card, it's supposed to say cards, to the graveyard. This card's effects cannot be negated by card effects or by your opponent's card effects. And then we got the Alcalcos Water Golem. It's a water type level 7 fiend effect monster. If you control a Seal of Alcalcos field spell on the field, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Once per turn, you can select one attack position monster your opponent controls and change it to defense mode. If this card attacks a monster that is in defense mode, then this card becomes attacks directly instead. An instant. Once per turn during your end phase, you can gain 1,000 life points. This card is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and this card cannot be targeted for attacks. So basically, this card allows you to basically summon itself if you have a field spell. And you also can change, like, if you had a powerful Blue Eyes White Dragon, or if your opponent has the powerfulest card in the game, you activate this card. You change your opponent's card to defense mode. So, yeah. So, these are the 5 cards that I made. Or actually 10 cards, because these ones. So, and I'm currently working on a new one. Raise your hand, or should I say, type in a chat if you know the game called Iron Meats. It's a game that I did not know it existed. And I don't think most of the YouTubers even played it or realized that it exists. So, yeah. So, so if you guys want me to do a brand new like custom card showcase for it, let me know in the comments below. So have a good night or day, depends on the time zones. Peace.